Hello and welcome back to Loaves and Dishes. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a super easy guacamole. Before we get into the video, hello, my name is Sarah and I have been doing cooking or food content creation in some capacity for 10 years now, and I'm very excited to share this super easy guacamole recipe. It's really great because it's only a few ingredients and you can either use store-bought Pico de Gallo, which is kind of like the secret ingredient for this, or you can make your own, and we have a video for that as well. If you'd like to check that out, I'll link it above. But this recipe is super easy. It's really great for like a party or a football game, etc. We're really excited to share this recipe with you. Please subscribe to our channel. We're so grateful for all of our subscribers. And if you want to be notified when we upload, please be sure to click the bell icon. So let's get started. So this is the Pico de Gallo video that I made the other day. I just sped it up. I wanted to keep it all in here just in case you hadn't seen the Pico video. But if you do want to see it and you want to see it at a normal speed, I will link it in the upper corner. So basically, I'm just taking some Roma tomatoes and I'm cutting them in half, removing the stems, and then I'm going to core them. And the reason that we're going to core them is that the seeds, the middle part of a tomato, which if you've eaten a tomato, you know, there's a lot of seeds. It's very liquidy. It's kind of like a gel almost. And you don't really want that in your pico. It'll make it real wet. And that's not what you want. So then I'm taking those and I'm just dicing those up. It doesn't have to be pretty. You just want things to be like a little bit smaller than bite size. I'd say like you want them to be like a 1/4 inch, like not too big, small enough so that you can like scoop up a good amount on the chip. These are the kinds of things that you have to think about when you're making something like pico. You know, you have to think about like what kind of vessel you're putting it in, how people are eating it, that kind of thing. So this is really fast. I wish that I could do prep work this fast. That would be amazing. It would take me no time to do anything. Wouldn't that be awesome? I could probably try. I'd cut my finger off. Let's be honest. Anyways, okay, so I'm almost done. And when I get done with this, I'm going to move on to the next step, which I believe is the onion. I chose to use red onion for this. You could use white onion if you prefer. I just think red onions are pretty and I like the flavor better. It's personal preference on the onions. It's kind of personal preference on the tomatoes too. I'm using a Roma tomato. I would not recommend using something like an heirloom tomato, but if you wanted to use a cherry tomato, I think that would be fine. So, you know, that's kind of up to you. Okay, so now I've got a jalapeno. If you want no spice at all, you can skip the jalapeno. The jalapeno does add a nice green color, so you can maybe do a little bell pepper, something like that. For the jalapeno, I'm doing a whole jalapeno, and I'm cutting it very small. I'm doing a very small dice. The technical term, I believe, is brunoise. It is tiny, and I really recommend cutting up the jalapeno as small as you possibly can, because you want it to disperse really well throughout the tomato and onion so that each bite you get like a little tiny pop of jalapeno. But you don't want a big chunk of jalapeno when you're like eating your pico. The jalapeno is just there for like a little spice. You don't want a big spice. Maybe you do want a big spice. I don't know. That's up to you. I wanted just a little bit of spice. Also, I always wear gloves when I cut up a jalapeno. I have horror stories about cutting up jalapenos without gloves on. Anyways, okay, so this is some cilantro. Make sure that when you're at the grocery store, you don't confuse it with parsley. They look kind of similar. And then I've got some limes. I'm going to zest a lime and I'm going to squeeze in a lime juice. If you want more lime, add more lime. I do recommend going with a fresh lime on this one instead of using like bottled lime juice. But if all you have is bottled lime juice, that will work fine. I added a little bit of salt and pepper, and now I'm squeezing my lime in there. And then I added a little bit of my garlic. I felt like this is a good application for the garlic because it's more mild than fresh garlic. So maybe if you don't want a super strong garlic flavor, you could just use garlic. Okay, so now we're at normal speed and I've got avocados. I'm using about 3 avocados and I just cut them in the middle. You can't get your knife all the way through because it has that big pit in there. cut it in half, did a little twist. It comes right apart, and then I'm just taking a spoon and scooping it out. And to get the pit out, I like to just squeeze a little bit and then scoop the pit out with a spoon. You can also like whack the pit with your knife. I do that most of the time, but I didn't want to do it on video because it's a little bit dangerous. You can you can cut yourself doing that. So I don't recommend it, but it is what I do most of the time. So see, I'm just like rolling my knife all the way around and then did a little twist and it pops right open. And then I give the middle a little squeeze. That one popped right out. And then a scoop and into the bowl. And so my other tip with avocados is you want to make sure that your avocado is ripe, but not too ripe where it's like, that can be kind of difficult to pick at the grocery store. So what I do is I pick up the avocado and I squeeze it. If it feels like it gives a lot, not a lot, but if it gives just a little bit, it's probably just about right. If you squeeze it and it feels like soft, that is overripe. And if you squeeze it and it feels hard, that is underripe. Okay, so I got all my my avocados in a bowl. It's not guacamole until we're done. And I'm just mashing it with a spoon. So a couple of my avocados weren't quite ripe, so they were a little bit difficult to mash. Avocados should be pretty easy to mash if you've done it right. The grocery store never has a good selection. And you want to take your time with this. And if you like your guacamole chunky, you can leave kind of big chunks of guacamole. We like ours kind of like a mix of chunky and non-chunky. I found a piece of guacamole skin in there. So we like ours a little bit chunky. So I'm just going through and making sure that it's like a good consistency. And when you put the pico in, you're going to mix it up some more. So it will get a little less chunky once you put that in. So now I'm adding the pico. Now the pico, you can add as little or as much as you'd like. That part's really up to you. I did about a third of a cup. And you want to mix that around and then you want to taste it. And you want to see if it needs more seasoning. Most of the time it will need more seasoning, but I put a little too much salt in my pico. I got a little heavy with the salt. And when you ate it with the chip, it was too salty. So I didn't need to do any extra seasoning. But the guacamole was perfect. It was the right amount of salt. So there it is, all done. Super delicious and easy guacamole. If you want to see more, be sure to check out Loaves and Dishes, and thanks for watching.